grasshoppers. So you have a question about beauty. Well, this is going to be a tough conversation to have because the world is going to present to you one idea about beauty, um, and then other people are going to try to tell you another idea about beauty. And I want to make sure you understand which one is real, which one is based on reality, and which one is false. So, you know what to do. Get out your dictionaries, my little grasshoppers, because we're going to talk about beauty. So, as a definition, I have my definitions right here. I believe this is from Oxford's definition of beauty: a combination of qualities such as shape, color, or form that pleases the aesthetic senses, essentially sight, especially sight. So let's break that down here for a second. So that definition says form, color, or shape. All of these are based on objective reality. So by definition, beauty is objective. And there will be people in this world who will walk around and act like or tell you, especially you, my little princess, that beauty is subjective. By its own definition, beauty is objective because form, color, shape, all of these have to be based on reality, something that can be seen. Therefore, it must be objective. So, if you're asking me how I perceive you, my daughter, and let me back up here real quick. When I'm talking about beauty, I'm not talking about just the female, just a woman or you, my daughter. I'm talking about beauty as in a scope as it relates to both man and woman. So this applies to you, my son, as well, but this is mostly for your sister. So back to what I was talking about. So if I, as a man, were to say, actually, like, how about this? Say in a hypothetical situation, there is a man and a woman. They've been married for 50 some odd years, and if you were to walk up and to him, hey, is your wife beautiful? He might say one of two things. A subjective response would be, yeah, my wife is absolutely the most beautiful woman in the world. That would be a subjective view, but if you were to look at him and ask more specifically, it's like, what I'm actually asking is your wife beautiful now, physically, as she was 30 some odd years ago? The objective reality would be no. He would respond by saying, no, but I think my wife is beautiful regardless. Again, that is subjective, but this is a subjective opinion, but it is not based on reality. And that's the difference between subjective and objective. And I can have a whole nother video on the difference between subjective and objectives. But I want to stay focused for you guys and just focus on the beauty standards. So the world will have a beauty standard, and most people like to do a scale like 1 through 10. I've seen that, I've heard that, watched other people have this discussion 1 through 10. So as my daughter, you're not, at the time of this video, you're not born yet, so I can't give you a scale. But the most people are average, male and female. Most people are pretty average, and there's nothing wrong with being average. So my daughter, if you feel average, if you think you're average, and you come and ask me, I'm going to tell you the truth. Last thing I'm going to do is ever lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you. So here's is the truth. Beauty is objective. It is based on what we can perceive. You can look at my video about perception. Very good thing to have in your back pocket, because this affects our perception of the world. But our perception of the world must be based on reality, and beauty is based on factual reality. And we have standards. There are standards of beauty. So if we talk about a person who is ugly, we're not talking about how beautiful he is on the inside. No, yeah, no. We're talking about his physical attractiveness. This is not based upon his emotions, who he is as a person, or who I say he, but I could also mean she, who she is as a person. None of that is a factor of one's beauty, because that's not the definition. It's objective. So I bring this video to you because you asked, but also because I want you to have, if you were to ever leave my house and step out into the world will have a beauty standard. And I admit that that beauty standard currently, at the time of making this video, is outlandish. Women have a much harder time meeting that beauty standard. Why? Because it's outlandish. It is a standard that should not be placed on them. They have expectations and pressures on them to look a certain way. That's another reason why I wanted to address this video, because I don't want you to feel insignificant. I don't want you to feel less than you actually are. But I also want to curtail your expectations to ensure that you don't perceive yourself to be more than you actually are either. Yes, I am your father. I am supposed to be encouraging you and uplifting you in every way possible, but it is also far more my responsibility and my job to teach you reality. I want to teach you the expectations of the world, as well as what the world will perceive you as. And the people out there that might be making the false statements that one is more than their actual appearance is, that sets you up for failure, and I certainly don't want you to fail, either you or your brother. So be mindful. Be mindful of who you are. Know that there's always going to be someone more beautiful than you. But there's always going to be the expectation that you be more than you should be. I mean, you're going to have things like makeup, eyeliner, and, plastic surgery. These are all things that the world will encourage you to do. But I hope that by the time you're watching this video, that I have instilled to you confidence in yourself, confidence in your own self-worth, confidence in your own physical attractiveness, your beauty, that you don't need to go to such extents to do that. I'm your father. I will always be proud of you no matter what. I will always, always love and adore you. That is actually subjective. I will admit that. No matter how you look, no matter if you got a burn scar or you just look all haggard one day, like you got bed hair just coming out the wazoo, I'm still gonna view you as beautiful. And the same for your mother. I'm still gonna view her as the most beautiful creatures in the world. But that's subjective. And if you were to ask me, if by comparison, how did your mother look when she was 20 versus or she looks when she's 40, the objective reality would be your mother looked a whole lot better when she was 20. So at the end of the day, one thing that I do want you to remember: know yourself, know your worth, and know how you compare. Because yes, there will be comparisons in the world, and you will face them. You will face these comparisons, and you absolutely must know and understand where you are in that comparison. Like I said earlier, most people are average, and there's nothing wrong with being average. I mean, think about it like this. If everyone, you remember that scale I said 1 through 10? If everyone was 10s, is anyone really beautiful then? Think about that. If everyone were 10s, who's unique? Who's special? Who's actually beautiful? No one, because everyone is the exact same. But that's not reality. Reality is the spice of life, or so they say. So, keep it real. Not everyone is going to be 10s. A lot of people are going to be average. And I want you, as my daughter, to have the expectation that people out there are going to say one thing, but I want you to truly know and understand where you measure up. And please, if you're watching this and you're feeling a little down, feeling like you don't have a lot of self-confidence in yourself, remember, Daddy always finds you beautiful. Daddy will always love you. And I'll see you soon.